Our scene opens with the memory of the captain. Sitting in a lounging recliner with a footrest up, a younger captain sips a steaming beverage from a dark orange mug. On his lap sits a newspaper several pages in. As he lifts the paper to turn the page, we catch a glimpse of the cover reading, "The Toad Times," with a large bold font underneath proclaiming, "Princess Missing?" with a large familiar symbol stretching the visible portion of the page. We now get a better look at the room around him. Decorating the cozy living room is brandished between fine wood furniture and toys scattered aimlessly across the floor. On the back wall, a large clock strikes the hour, and suddenly a small figure of Princess Peach pops out and sounds loudly,
"It's 5 o'clock!"
As if summoned, a roar of footsteps is heard upstairs, and the captain follows the sound as the source quickly thrusts itself into the living room.
"Daddy!"
Shrieked a small pink toadette.
"It's time to go to the square for the festival!"
The captain looked down at his daughter.
"Lily, you know better than to leave the house this way,"
Grinned the captain.
"Do we have to miss out on the fun tonight because you forgot your chores?"
Lily, looking frantic.
"Sorry, Daddy. I'll clean it up now. Then can we go?"
"I don't know, Pumpkin.
The captain stretches.
I might fall asleep before you're done,"
The captain proclaimed sarcastically. As if charged by a power star, Lily began zipping around the room, gathering her toys and chucking them into a bin in the corner. As she does so, a figure enters the doorway across the room.
Honey, you know better than to tease Lily like that.
Now standing in front of the captain was a shorter lavender toadette, who was smiling down at him warmly.
"Oh, it's all in good fun, Tara,"
Chuckled the captain.
"Come on, Lily, let's get ready for the..."
The captain's gaze is now on the spotless room.
"Well, look at you, Lily. I bet you would give old Koopa the Quick a run for his money."
Lily now beaming with pride.
"Does this mean we get to go to the festival now?"
The captain, now up out of his chair and leaning over Lily.
"It sure does, Short Stack. Run along with your mother and get ready to go."
"Hooray!"
Screams Lily as she dashes from the room. Tara leans in close to the captain.
So, sweetie, how long do we get you before your patrol?
The captain smiling lovingly back at his wife.
"I only have to check in with a platoon and do a safety check at the gate. We don't want a repeat of last year's firework debacle,"
Chuckles the captain.
That's wonderful, honey. That means we can finally spend the festival together with Lily.
Tara excitedly proclaimed.
I'm not going to waste this chance. Let's hurry and get ready so we can go start our night to remember.
The scene cuts to the Toadstool tap. Titus finishing his shroom and tonic, staring intently at the captain.
"So you have a family back home. That's awfully sweet for a gruffly toad such as yourself."
The captain, with an empty look in his eyes, looks down at the now empty mug of mush mule.
"Yes, I had everything one could have hoped for."
Now looking up, the captain's gaze lands on a tall clear bottle on the top shelf, with the only identifiable imagery being a skull and crossbones. Pointing to the bottle,
"Give me whatever that is, and we can continue."
Titus, turning in the direction the captain pointed, begins to sweat.
Captain,
Titus stammers.
that is dead cap vodka. It will jettison your mind out of your body before the liquid has the chance to hit your stomach."
"Then it's perfect for what comes next,"
Muttered the captain.
"Don't you worry. I can hold my own. You just worry about serving me with your ale, and I'll keep talking."
Now hesitating, Titus stares at the captain for a brief moment. The resolve exuding from the captain is enough for him to get up and take the ale from its resting place. A layer of dust lines the bottle, with its contents nearly full. Titus reaches under the bar and pulls out a small glass in a sealed container of ice. As Titus preps the drink, the captain eyes the bottle thirstily.
"Well, Captain, before I give this to you, I'm going to need some assurance you're not going to use that,
Gesturing at the crossbow in the captain's lap.
if you go over your limit."
The captain, without skipping a beat, reaches down and presses a brass switch on the underbelly of the canister. A loud kerplunk is heard, and out pops several long cylinders of varying colors.
"They aren't any harm to normies like you or me, Titus.
Gestures the captain, now extending one of the cylinders to Titus.
But if it will calm your nerves, then please examine one of them."
Titus hesitantly takes a cylinder from the captain.
"Well, isn't this peculiar? It doesn't have a pointed end.
Titus running his hands down the side and tip of the cylinder.
And I can feel many tiny holes."
"These are dispersal cylinders,"
Says the captain, now picking up one and pointing.
"These are propelled into the vicinity of my targets, and each color signifies its intended purpose.
Pointing down at the 8 dull colorings on the back of each cylinder.
The holes serve 2 purposes. The first is acting as a venting mechanism that discharges a unique agent of my design. The second is letting out a frequency designed to render the target immobile for a few seconds, giving time for the discharged agent to come into contact with them. This,"
Pointing to the top of the cylinder,
is a high-volume pressurized CO2 canister that, if struck from the front, will discharge the agent early as well as enable a light underneath to blind the target.
The captain pauses to see a look of terror over Titus's face, then continues,
But as a safety precaution,
now picking up the crossbow,
without the string on this bow, the canisters will not detonate. You see,
pulling a blue coin out of his jacket and holding it to the string,
these strings are laced with a magnetic compound.
now pulling the blue coin as the captain does so, pulls the string with it.
Blue coins, as you know, are made of cobalt, so I've cut them into small chunks and put them at the base of the cylinder along with a spring. When the base comes into contact with the string, it pulls the chunk of blue coin back and puts tension on the spring. Once released from the bow, the force of the chunk coming off the spring sends it to a pressure sensor in the canister and starts a timer for the discharge. Additionally, this is why my canister is made out of gold and has a brass switch, non-magnetic metals. So you see,
Now putting the cylinders back in the canister,
that is why it is perfectly safe. Not that the compound would affect you anyway.
Titus, now lacking any of the previous fear, looks excitedly at the captain.
This is incredible! And where did you get such a marvelous weapon?
Proclaims Titus, now looking expectantly at the captain. The captain takes his first good look at Titus. With a slightly aged face appearing to be in his late 20s, early 30s, Titus's face is brandished with a friendly dark walnut mutton chops. His height could rival Mario's, and he was clothed with a tan, low-flowing, long-sleeve collared V-neck and dark emerald pants.
If I told you,
Smiled the captain.
that would only make you a target of him. But I can say that a strange old man in a white coat was responsible for developing the weapon with me.
The captain reaches for the now poured drink on the bar, and without hesitating, downs the small beverage. With a short gasp,
Now anyway, back to it.
now pushing the glass towards Titus, gesturing for a refill. The scene fades out and we are greeted to a town square filled with lights and vendors. Twilight fills the sky with a dark orange hue. Our view is guided towards Lily and Tara as they walk through the festival. Lily, holding a half-eaten cotton candy, skips beside her mother happily.
When is Daddy going to join us?
Lily chirps, mouthful of the decadence she's holding.
Your father will be around soon, sweetie. He just has some instructions to give the platoon guarding the festival first. His job is very important, you know.
Tara says, comforting, as they continue to the next vendor.
I know.
Smiles Lily.
Daddy makes sure we are all safe.
Tara smiles down at Lily.
He sure does. Say, why don't we go find your father a gift? I'm sure he would love a gift from both of us.
The scene pans out to a large gated entrance to the city. The festival is seen to span the entirety of the open square, with some vendors spilling into the street in every direction. Our view gets narrowed down underneath the gate to see the captain and a group of armored toads. The captain is branded with a long green cape in addition to matching armor.
Okay, everyone. To make sure tonight goes off without an incident, I need you all to be extra vigilant.
Barks the captain in a commanding tone.
Fireworks are strictly prohibited after the debacle we faced last year. The princess told me herself last week that if something happens again, we will all be sent back to Chomp's basic training.
Looking disheveled, the entire platoon yells,
Sir, yes, sir!
The captain takes a moment to look over the platoon.
Now, you know your stations. Head over there now, and any sign of fire being lit, sound your horn.
Gesturing to the horn strapped to his side, which mirrors each of the other toads.
I will be in the festival with my family. If I hear one sound, I'll be the first to assist you in stopping those hooligans.
As he speaks, the other toads take a reassuring glance at their own horn.
Now, you are dismissed.
With a click to attention, the toads begin to walk towards the festival in different directions. As they do, multiple screams are heard. Suddenly, an explosion is seen in the middle of the festival, erupting in bright colored smoke.
Already?
Shouted the captain in confusion.
Damn it! Hey, platoon!
Yelled the captain as he begins to run towards the explosion. Looking back,
Go access the water valve!
the captain trails off. Standing in the entrance is a hulking figure. The light from the festival casts upon it, revealing a reflective metal painted red and silver. At either hand is two large nets coming out from the arms just above the hands. In the nets are the entire Toad platoon, who are now in a complete panic.
You! What are you doing to my men?
Stammered the captain, now frozen with fear. As if ignoring the captain, both hands from the mechanical figure open and flip backwards, revealing an open hole. Suddenly, a large purple smoke bellows up from the holes and all over the platoon.
No!
Screams the captain. With tears welling up, the captain musters the courage to run to his men, unsheathing a small sword and dashing forward with a blinding slash, cutting the nets from the machine.
Futile,
Mutters the machine mockingly as the captain drags the net out of the purple smoke. As he does, the captain inhales some of the smoke and begins to cough.
foolish fleshling. Now you too will become a monster.
The captain, with a look of confusion, looks inside the nets to see broken armor shards surrounding black toads. Their muscles engorged to a grotesque form, the skin barely holding it in their body. Suddenly, the black toads burst to life, tearing the net completely, and they let out a terrifying beastly scream. Without prompt, the toads begin leaping on all fours toward the festival in all directions, destroying everything in their path. A realization comes over the captain, and he looks at the explosion he first saw in the festival. Purple smoke rises among the fire, and more screams are heard. With his back to the machine, a wave of terror washes over the captain's face. The machine speaks again.
Well. Someone is actually immune to our monstrification toxin. No matter. We still have a use for you.
As if a bolt of lightning had struck the captain, he leaps to his feet, ignoring the machine and making a dash for the festival center. But as he does, with a red flash and a smell of sulfur, the machine blocks the captain's path.
You're mine!
Proclaims the machine, and raises a hand preparing to fire another net. Before the captain can move, a blue flash streaks between the captain and the machine. After a brief delay, the machine's arm drops to the ground, broken at the hinge from a blunt force. A voice is heard yelling above the growing noise. "Go help the others! I'll handle this one!" The captain and the machine glance about, looking for the source of the voice. When the machine spots the source on top of the entrance, a blue cloak is all the captain sees before the figure yells again. "Go now!" The captain, taking this opportunity, dashes between the legs of the machine, glancing back to see a net cast towards the top of the gate, and a flurry of bright stars burst from the location the cloaked figure had been standing. Turning back to the festival, the captain frantically looks about for his family. Most of the vendors at this point have been completely demolished by the rampaging black toads from his platoon. The captain notices that he hasn't seen anyone. As the captain approaches where he first sighted the explosion, a shriek of a little girl fills the air. The captain freezes and looks into the clearing. 10 additional machines are dragging away countless toads to a large aircraft. Then the captain spots them. Tara and Lily are backed into a corner by one towering machine. A voice over a speaker is heard,
"You two will make fine specimens."
and the large machine leans down to pick up Tara and Lily. It's at this point Lily spots the captain across the clearing.
Daddy!
Screams Lily at the top of her lungs. Tara looks around, still clutching Lily in her arms, tears rolling down her face. The large machine stops and turns to look at the captain. Its figure, while being very similar to the smaller machines, has a large red metal mustache.
Ooh! So one got away from the front gate.
Chuckled a voice over the speaker. The large machine turns back to Tara and Lily and fires a net upon them. At the same time, the captain dashes towards the net, but before he can get there, the large machine fires its fist at the captain, knocking him to the ground. As the captain quickly gets back up, a voice is heard again.
A lot of fight in you, I see. No worries. If we can't capture you, then there's no point in letting you live. We have plenty of specimens here after all.
Now picking up the net holding Tara and Lily, who are crying uncontrollably.
You two,
Barks the large machine.
finish that one, and then join us back at base.
Yes, Doctor.
Retorted two of the smaller machines. As they move between the captain and the large machine, Lily screams out again. The captain lunges forward again, slipping past the two smaller machines, and reaches out for Lily and Tara. Tara grabs hold of the captain's hand for a brief moment through the net, before the captain is suddenly blasted from behind by a rocket and sent hurtling into festival debris. As the captain pulls himself out of the debris, he sees Tara and Lily being put in a large aircraft, which promptly takes off. As it does, the captain yells out, "Stop! Don't take them!" And as he reaches towards the airborne craft, he sees something glint in the light of the fire on his arm. A partially open locket is seen wrapped around the captain's wrist. Inside, he sees a picture of himself, Tara, and Lily. Tears begin to stream down the captain's face as he rises to face the machines. "You monsters!
How could you do this to us?
Bellowed the captain as he thrust himself at the two machines. One of the machines vanished. Stunned, the captain halts his assault and looks up. Towering above him, a fist rains down on him.
I'll crush you!
Howls the machine. In one moment, everything begins to go dark. The screams of his daughter rings in the captain's ears before finally losing consciousness. Fade to black.